What is up, YouTube? This is Panfro here, bringing you my review slash impression of Rogue Legacy 2 1.1 patch. So, Rogue Legacy 2 just came out in early access in the 1.0 format, and there was a hot patch actually yesterday of the time of recording. So, I'm going to be reviewing the release of the original release of the game with the patch included on it. And this is also my first review and impression, so please enjoy. So, Rogue Legacy 2 is a sequel to the classic cult hit Rogue Legacy in 2013, which, as you can see, is a 2D platformer roguelike. Which means the castle you play in is randomly generated every single time based on a set of rooms that are created already in the game's files. So currently in this version of the game, there is 990 rooms that are in the game, which cover the first area and the second area of this game, but most of them are focused on the first area. Speaking of the first area, this is what we are looking at right now, is the beginning of the castle. And as you can see, the game is a little bit different than Rogue Legacy 2 in the sense that this is not a pixelated game. This is a fully 3D modeled game. However, it is in a 2D setting. So that is why you're not seeing like this 8-bit, 16-bit style to it. But I think personally the graphics look clean. They really grew on me. At first, I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but after playing the game for about 7-8 hours, I'm really a big fan of this change, and I think it was a smart change by Celador Games to do this, especially to keep up with modern times of 2020. So yes, if you were familiar with the first game, Rogue Legacy 2 is pretty much the same type of game. It is nothing has really changed. So when you go through the castle, you'll die at some point, and when you die, you get to play as your next heir, and you have one of three choices of your next heir, and each choice has a different class in this game. Like Barbarian, Ranger, Knight, and Mage are the four classes you can pick in Rogue Legacy 2 at the moment. And each character you pick has the potential to have a trait between 1 and 2 traits, and they vary from being awful or just a complete meme or incredibly amazing for your run. Each character will also start with a spell, or if you're the mage, you have 2 spells. And just like Rogue Legacy 1, you have your castle to level up. And in this video, I have maxed my castle out. And when you work on your castle, you use gold that you pick up from your run. So when your character dies and on your next run, you can use the gold from your previous character to upgrade your castle. Or you can use your gold to go to either the blacksmith or the enchantress to buy armor from blueprints that you find in the dungeon, or to buy runes that you also find in the dungeon too. And then when you leave to the castle, you give all your money to Charon, so anything you don't spend, you give back to him. And if you do have a perk from the castle, which is the safe, you can actually keep some of that, which is very nice. But that's the general gist of it. You pick your character, you go through the dungeon, and yeah, it's different every single time. So that's your general gameplay loop. So, and rooms can vary from either being completely like enemy filled, from being hazard filled, between like having bramble on the ground, or having like floating balls that attack you, or swinging chains. Some rooms are definitely more combat focused than the others. However, you don't need to clear rooms to beat rooms. You can actually speed through rooms if you're trying to do certain things. You also have an armor score in this game, so when you do take damage, you can reduce the damage you take by using your armor. However, different characters want different builds, which is where the equipment comes in. So a mage necessarily wouldn't want this high armor compared to like the barbarian I'm using right here. Funny enough, this barbarian is usually huge, but I have the dwarf's wisdom trait, so it does make it a little bit more of an interesting experience, for better or for worse. As an example, with the dwarf ability, I can go into certain rooms that only allow for dwarf characters to go into, but on the other hand, I am much smaller, so my attacks are a lot smaller, so I do have to get closer to hit enemies and things like that, but it does help me dodge enemy attacks easier in theory. However, I'm doing pretty bad in this video, which is pretty funny. Like I said, I was trying to get footage of the third area, which I eventually do. So yeah, this game has, right now in this build, like I said, 990 different rooms. There is a total of 10 different spells, and there is a total of 42 traits that you can go through. Oh yeah, and some of the different rooms, like I was saying, there's like enemy rooms and challenge rooms and trap rooms. There are fairy chest rooms. So a room like this is, you can, if you can get to the fairy chest and whatever the requirements are, you can open it and get the gold inside of it, or it's usually an equipment or runes. Or if you have all the equipment and rooms, you would get this currency, which is like some sort of blood currency, which you cannot use currently in the game for anything, but it will be for a future uh, weapon or shop or something. We don't know the full things. Besides that, there is two challenges in this game that give you relics. So yeah, there's two relics. One is giving you dash, which I've been spamming the entire time. So you don't start the game with dash. You have to complete a challenge to do that. And the other one lets you read memories, which is pretty useful to get the lore in the game. And it also helps you defeat the first boss if you can find a secret that will actually have you do 15% more damage to him. So that's very helpful. Speaking of bosses, there is a total of 2 bosses in the game right now. There is the boss for the first area, and then there is a secret boss, which is technically in the third area of the game because the second area of the game does not work right now. So the devs patched, essentially, they have a little sign that says you cannot go to this part of the game yet because of how buggy it is. So they actually put in the third area right after the second area screen. And you get to see a boss that is exclusive to Early Access 1.0. So once it hits Early Access 1.2 or whatever the next big update is, which is apparently going to be in 60 days, they will have that boss out and actually have whatever the legitimate boss is, and hopefully the second area of the game. And speaking of which, if you do own the first Rogue Legacy game, this game is only $18 for you, so you do get a nice $2 savings on that because this game is a full $20 on Steam and Epic Game Store at the moment. So yeah, that is my impressions of Rogue Legacy 2. I think the game is overall really fun. I really enjoy it. If you like the first game, you would definitely enjoy this game. And I'm looking forward to more content being put in. I do think $20 is a steep price for what they're asking for at the moment. Just because there isn't too much content. I saw everything and did everything within 5 hours of the game. But if you really enjoyed the first game, there is a lot for you to, mess around with and learn different classes and grind up currency. So be ready for the next patch. However, if you were just looking for a game that has a lot of content, this is not the game yet. It's not there yet for you. However, I think in 1 or 2 big more patches, this would be a definite big buy. Right now, this is a wait and see, but the foundation for what is here with this game is pretty incredible. I think this game is going to be special when it actually comes out in full release, and I think it could potentially become one of the best roguelikes ever, just like the first game is. I really, truly do believe in that, but like I said, the foundation is there. If we get like 4 or 5 more classes, 6 more classes, get up to 100 traits, get up to like 30, 40 spells, just add more onto what is already good in this game, we'll really get there. And they did say they are going to add at least 3 more areas, so it's gonna, or I guess 4 more areas, so there's gonna be a total of 5 biodomes, and all with their own randomly generated rooms, and different enemies will be added to that. Also, that is one thing I'll say is I wish there was more enemy diversity in this game, because if watching this video, you will see that you sort of seeing the same amount of enemies, and there's really nothing you have missed in terms of enemies. There's only like maybe 1 or 2 uniques in the third area. However, they're not really that crazy. It's more like they're just a different color of enemy that you see in this first one, but they're holding a different weapon. It's those hands that are all they just hold a different weapon. So pretty much the same type of enemy. They do a little bit of different attacks, so I say they are unique in that regard. Oh yeah, another thing, there is these new special rooms where you can make a choice between 2 items. Sort of reminds me of Binding of Isaac item rooms, where you get to pick one or the other. So I think that's pretty cool. Well guys, thank you for watching my long impression / review of the game. Currently, I'll give this game right now, I think it is a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's good. I think it's almost a great game. I think it's really good. It's easily going to become a great or even amazing game for me once they get more content. But right now, it is just really good. And I think if you enjoy Rogue Legacy 1, you should buy this game. If you want to wait and see, I totally respect that. I think that's also a very smart decision. Well, thank you for watching my first review and impression, and check out my other videos on Rogue Legacy and my other videos on indie games on my YouTube channel. And don't forget to please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time, and have a great one.